And welcome everybody to episode 3 of Wyatt's Hour, where every week of the summer we talk about the biggest news and the biggest sports and entertainment news of the week. And today we have quite a few things to go over. First things first, today we're going to be talking about the Toy Story 5, how it's doing in the box office. I know we spoke about it last episode. We're going to be talking about the U.S. Open highlights. We're going to be talking about who won the U.S. Open on the U.S. Open highlights for final round, midday. We're going to be talking about that today. We're also going to be talking about the NBA. I know that's been a frequent topic that we've been talking about, but this time we're going to be talking about the NBA draft and the NBA free agency, the biggest news that are going on in the world of the NBA. Next, we're going to be talking about a trade that happened in the NHL. So we'll speak about what the trade was. And then to end the show today, we're going to be talking about the FIFA World Cup, because now we know 3 teams that have qualified for the round of 32. I hope you guys are having a great day. It is 93 degrees and sunny outside, so enjoy the weather today. As soon as you get done listening to the show, just enjoy the weather, enjoy playing outside. Don't be outside for too long, but enjoy the outside. And anyway, we'll be going into a music break. Once we come back from the music break, we'll be talking about Toy Story. So stay tuned, and we'll be back right after this. And welcome back, everybody, from the music break. You are listening to Wyatt's Hour right here on HC Hawk Radio today at the Ybor City campus. Today's a beautiful Monday. Like we said, the weather's going to be good today. So enjoy today. I know I'm having a good day. So let's head right into our first segment of episode 3. Now, last time that we spoke, we talked about how people were excited for Toy Story. Turns out people were a little bit more excited for Toy Story than I thought, because they are doing historic numbers. Now, let's take a look at how Woody and Buzz are recapturing global audiences. Now, for the numbers, they made a staggering $160 million domestic debut. Globally, it rocketed to $312 million over its 3-day opening weekend. Man, let's just take a second to talk about that, because $312 million in 3 days is absolutely insane. With 160 of that came from the United States. That's just crazy. Like, people are excited to see this movie because it's the 5th installment. Now, I have looked at a lot of criticisms online, and people going into this movie were like, they were concerned because they thought, oh, this is way too much movies for Toy Story. But then I saw that people were enjoying the movie, and they were really enjoying it. So a little bit about the story. Analysts spent months wondering if audiences finally had franchise fatigue, but Woody, Buzz, and Jessie proved the skeptics wrong. This 5th installment puts our favorite legacy toys makes our favorite legacy toys against their most terrifying enemy yet, the Froggy digital tablet. Now, with the toys, this whole thing is they're trying to prove that they are still valuable, but the tablet in the movie is saying that, oh, you guys are old news, you guys are way beyond your prime, you're just extra. And the theaters desperately needed a savior, and Pixar delivered a masterpiece that brought entire families back to the movies. This marks the first traditional 200 million 3-day collective weekend for the industry this year. Audience backed up the critical hype, rewarding the film with a glowing rare A cinema score. Disney and Pixar are officially back on top of the global animation throne. Now, just like that, Toy Story has now pushed themselves up to being one of the top earning movies of the year. We've talked about Backrooms is up there. They crossed 200 million. Obsession, I've seen cross 300. And you got the Super Mario Bros. Galaxy crossed 1 billion. You have a lot of movies. Scream 7 is up there. So Toy Story, just out of the blue, is now in top 10 contention for most money made for a movie of the year so far. And I think this is really a feel-good moment for both new and old generations, because there's plenty of people who are listening right now who may be old enough to have seen Toy Story in theaters, and now they're well into their 30s. Like 30 years later, you got Toy Story 5. And I've seen that Pixar actually had trouble writing the movie because they thought that Toy Story 4 was a perfect ending for Woody. And they actually wrote a script without Woody. So imagine Toy Story without Woody. Woody's like the face of Toy Story. You can't have Toy Story without Woody. But they wrote the movie without him. And they ultimately realized that they need Woody, not just to drive people in to watch it, but because the story doesn't make sense. Like, who would be the leader? And so it's a feel-good moment that we get Woody back, but Woody is actually getting older. You see that in the movie, he actually has a bald spot. And I like how detailed they were of that. I like how they're making the toys look older, because it's been 30 years. And, I mean, age is catching up to them. So there's a lot of people, there's also new generations who, because of their parents, were showed Toy Story, and now they're watching Toy Story 5 in theaters, and they're enjoying the movie. And it's great for both generations. So I like how Toy Story has the success that it's been given. I think it's only going to get bigger from here. If I had to make my prediction, I think Toy Story easily crosses $600 to $700 million box office within the next week or two. It has that potential. But that's all we're going to be talking about the entertainment side for today. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the U.S. Open final round midday results. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this music break. And we're going to be listening to One Direction. So we will be back right after this. And welcome back, everybody, from the music break. We just got done talking about Toy Story 5. Let's move into our first bit of sports news of the day. We had the USA Open, finale, the final round. Wyndham Clark wins his second career U.S. Open championship. which is insane. This is about tennis. So for those of you who don't know, the U.S. Open is a big tournament, a big championship tournament for tennis. All the biggest tennis players play in it, and they try to win. And if you win, you actually get money. So you actually win money if you win the U.S. Open. So let's talk about the numbers real quick. The numbers, he finished 4 under par overall, surviving a brutal 3 over par final round of 73 to win by solitary stroke. He walks away with 750 FedEx Cup points and a $4.5 million winner's check. That is insane. I would like to get paid $4.5 million to play tennis. Like, sign me up. So let's get a little bit to the story. This was pure major championship survival on one of the most punishing courses in America. Clark entered Sunday with what looked like a comfortable 6-stroke lead, but Shinnecock Hills is an absolute beast. And the world number 1, Scotty Scheffler, was breathing down his neck on his 30th birthday. Clark wobbled early with 3 bogeys on his first 7 holes. My bad, this is golf. I don't know where I got that from. My bad. This is golf that we're talking about. But he dug deep on the back 9 while Sam Burns missed a dramatic heart-stopping putt on the 18th hole to fall exactly 1 stroke short. So my bad. It's a mistake. I misread it. It's golf we're talking about, not tennis. So the U.S. Open is a tennis tournament. I mean, not tennis, golf tournament. That one of the best golfers go and they play every year. And so again, I like to get paid $4.5 million to play golf. Like, sign me up. But I'm not good at golf. I'm only good at mini golf. Anyway, the absolute ice in his veins, Clark became only the 9th golfer in history to win a U.S. Open wire-to-wire, putting his name alongside legends like Tiger Woods and Roy McIlroy. Now talk about history in the making. As Clark wins his 2nd U.S. Open, now he puts his name up against one of the biggest golf stars ever, Tiger Woods and Roy. Like, talk about major history making news over the weekend. So that's just a little short recap about golf and what happened with golf over the weekend. We're going to be going into another music break. When we come back from the music break, we're going to be talking about the NBA and the draft and the free agency and what's going on and what you need to know. So we'll be back right after this break. And welcome back, everybody. It is Wyatt here with Wyatt's Hour. We just got done listening to some Ariana Grande. So now we're here at HC Hawk Radio here on the Ybor City campus. And for the next segment, it's going to be a little bit of a longer segment, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. We're going to be talking about the NBA draft and what's going in the world of the free agency for the NBA. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes, we spoke about how the New York Knicks are your 2026 NBA champions. It's their first championship in 53 years, and New York City looked insane. As soon as they won, there was ruckus in the streets. They were destroying stuff. But in a way, like, they're just celebrating the win, but also they were breaking so many laws there. It literally looked like there was a purge going on. It was crazy, but you did not want to be in New York the night the Knicks won the championship. But so that's what we've been talking about the past couple of weeks. But this week, we're talking about the NBA draft because the NBA draft is tomorrow night. So we're going to be getting you caught up on what's going on. The Washington Wizards look to secure their future at the first overall pick. So the Washington Wizards have the first overall pick. And a massive Giannis Antetokounmpo trade rumors threatens to blow up draft night. If you don't know, Giannis Antetokounmpo is on the Milwaukee Bucks. And after this season, he wanted a trade out because he felt like he wasn't being valued enough. And the Bucks weren't really giving him enough tools to perform the way that he wanted to perform. So a little bit, let's jump back to the draft first. The draft kicks off tomorrow on June 23rd. The Wizards are officially on the clock with the first overall pick. Scouts are completely split down the middle on a two-man race at the top. BYU's multi-positional scoring wing, AJ Dubonanza, and Kansas elite shot maker Darren Peterson. And right behind those two is Duke's Cameron Brozier, the son of former NBA All-Star Carlos Bruiser, is a lock to bring superstar IQ to the top three. So those three college athletes that I just mentioned are all fighting to be the first overall pick. Now, if it were up to me, I think they go with a shot maker, with a guy who you can plug in and he can make so many shots and he could really help you from behind. I think they go with Darren Peterson from Kansas. But it'll be interesting to see which one of the three goes first overall, because those are what scouts are saying that are going to be the first overall pick, is those three, which would be really interesting. They could go with a sleeper pick and go Cameron Bruiser, which would be kind of unexpected. But now, let's jump right back to Giannis. So the real bomb dropping on front offices is out of Milwaukee. Co-owner Jimmy Haslam has reportedly set a strict deadline to resolve the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation by draft night. The Miami Heat are the undisputed frontrunners to land the Greek Freak, with a rumored package sending Tyler Hero, Khalil Wire, Jermaine Jaquarez Jr. in the number 13th overall pick to the Bucks, which would be insane. Imagine Giannis on the Heat with, there's so many good players on that team. Like, the Heat could be secret NBA playoffs contenders next season if that goes through. I've also seen that that the Boston Celtics are in the running for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which, if they do trade for him, I heard that Jaylen Brown, a star player on the Celtics, would be a part of that package. Now, if the Celtics get Giannis, just say rest in peace to the league. Next season, I think Celtics would be your champions, because Giannis and just Giannis alone would make that team just amazing. It would be crazy. Now we got a little bit of the rumor mill now going on. If the Heat deal stalls, watch out for the Detroit Pistons acting as a third team facilitator to absorb Hero next to Cade Cunningham. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma City Thunder are actively trying to package their number 12, 17, and 37 picks to aggressively trade into the top 10 to consolidate talent and dodge a looming $286 million luxury tax bill. Now, this is the most volatile draft night the league has ever seen in a generation. Whether it's a top-tier rookie class or a historic superstar trade, the balance of power in the NBA, it's going to be astonishing within the next 48 hours or 2 days, which is insane. The future of the NBA literally starts tomorrow. Because if Giannis gets traded, you got the team that he goes to instantly becomes playoff contenders. You got 3 really good draftees that are going to get drafted, so they could change the team that they go to. And the Thunder, the Oklahoma City Thunder, are actively trying to get into the top 10, possibly to get one of those 3. Not like they have enough talent already. They have so many talent there. It's not, literally, it's more than you can count. But who says you can't get more good talent? And that's what the Thunder's doing. The Thunder are trying to get more good talent. Well, that is it for the NBA section of this segment for today. Next week we'll still talk about the NBA, but we'll go over the draft results and if the Giannis trade went through. Anyway, we're going to come up with a music break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about NHL, about the world, the hockey world. And then to end the show, we'll be having the World Cup. We'll be talking about what happened with the World Cup. So much more. Stay tuned. Here's Taylor Swift. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back to Wyatt's Hour. We just got out of a music break. Hopefully you liked Taylor Swift. Our next segment is the NHL. Speaking about trades, we had a trade that happened in the world of NHL that has actually taken hockey fans. They're really excited about it. The Florida Panthers acquire Ottawa Senators captain Brady. I'm gonna butcher this name. Tkachuk. I think that's how you say his name. Well, anyway, here's the trade details. Ottawa receives Florida's number 9th and number 25th overall picks in this Friday's 2026 NHL draft, a conditional 2029 first round pick, and a 2027 second round pick. Now, Ottawa literally has so many draft capital now for this weekend's 2026 NHL draft, and Ottawa will be rebuilding. They look like they're trying to rebuild, and they get a lot of picks to do that with. So they get 2 first round picks this Friday, which you could literally pick your next captain with those 2. So I think Ottawa is going under a rebuild, and they get rid of their captain, who many people didn't think they were going to do it. But that means, and here's the story. So that means this is a great move. It's a big move in the NHL landscape to make the math work under the hard salary cap. Florida general manager Bill Zito first flipped forward Mackie Samoshevich to the Seattle Kraken to harvest draft capital. They immediately packaged those picks to Ottawa to land Brady, who has 2 years left on his contract. Now, Ottawa, Florida, you can tell they're in win now mode. So they could have just held those picks and picked whoever they wanted this Friday, but no, they want to go straight. They don't want to wait in line. They want to go to the finish line. And they got that pick. And this blockbuster trade unites Brady with his brother, Matthew Chuck, on an already powerhouse Florida roster. The Panthers locker room just became the most physically relentless, frustrating place in the league for opposing teams to visit next season. Now, I know Florida, they won the Stanley Cup, not this year, they won it last year. And so they're looking to win it again. But this trade really helps them put them into that into that moment of into the playoff race. Because now the Panthers have a captain on their team. They got brothers together. They reunite. So the Florida Panthers are going to be one of these sleeper picks for the playoffs next season. And since the NHL draft is coming up here, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the NHL draft. Here in a second. So we got the 2026 draft order. The order for each round is determined by the order that teams finished the 2025-26 regular season and the 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs. But the top of the first round order was altered by the draft lottery constructed May 5th. The Toronto Maple Leafs won the first draw, and the San Jose Sharks won the second draw. Now, we're not going to go over every pick, obviously. We're going to be going over the first round picks, so that you know who's all picking and how it'll fare. So round one, you got first round Toronto Maple Leafs, then San Jose Sharks, then the Vancouver Canucks, Chicago Blackhawks, New York Rangers, Calgary Flames, the Seattle Kraken, which, if you don't know, if you haven't watched the NHL the past couple of years, the Seattle Kraken is actually a new NHL team that was created. They actually created two. I think the other one's like the Utah Mammoths, I believe. I can check that here in a second. But the Seattle Kraken is a relatively new team that was created. So if you were hearing this and you're like, oh, who's the Seattle Kraken? That's who. Then we have Winnipeg Jets, the ninth overall pick, which is for the Ottawa Senators, which we just spoke, was a part of that trade. Nashville Predators, St. Louis Blues, New Jersey Devils, New York Islanders. Nice. Won't go through all of them, but you get the gist. But yep, they're called the Utah Mammoth. But Ottawa, as I'm looking right now, has 1, 2, 3 first round picks, which is insane. I mean. They have 3 first-round picks. So if you really want to go for a rebuild, you can really go for a rebuild with 3 first-round picks this year. Man, that is insane. But before we go, let's talk about the odds for the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs for next year. These odds are predictions on who people think will be winning. So they have... the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup, as we talked about, and they are favorites to repeat as champions for the 2026-27 season with plus 700 odds. So if it's in the pluses, like in betting, pluses means that it's not really guaranteed to happen. You can plus, if you see a plus, that's good because you can make more money with that. I'm not giving any money tips. I'm just saying when I say plus. So I'm just going based off of who's the favorites, and the Carolina Hurricanes are favorites to repeat. But the Colorado Avalanche are next up, and the Vegas Golden Knights are also up there as well, with Edmonton Oilers, the Florida Panthers, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Speaking of Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Lightning are also favorites to win next season, but look for the Hurricanes to go for a repeat. So we will see how that goes down. That's all for the NHL portion. We have a lot of time left, so for our last and final segment of the day, we are going to be talking about the FIFA World Cup. And I've saved a lot of time for a reason, because I know last week we didn't have too much time to talk about the FIFA World Cup, but I've left us a lot of time for us to talk about the FIFA World Cup. So we got a lot of scores to go over, got some good facts to go over, but we're going to be heading to a music break. We'll be back right after this. Here is Save Your Tears by The Weeknd. All right, welcome back to Wyatt's Hour here on HC Hawk Radio. This is the last segment of the show today, and we're going to be talking about the FIFA World Cup. So we got a lot of time to talk about the FIFA World Cup. So if you haven't already known that this show's main focus is the FIFA World Cup, as it'll be running through the summer, and that's what we are covering. Right now, the teams are in what's called a group stage, where there's 4 teams in a group. There's about 12 groups, and they have to win. So they face each other in their group. And if you get, let's say, 6 points, which is 2 wins, so every win equals 3 points. Every draw equals 1, and if you lose, you don't gain a point. And your goal is to try and win as many games as possible. So if you win 2 games, you get 6 points. Depending on how well the closest person to you is doing. So let's say, for example, U.S. and Germany, right? They're not in the same group, but this is just an example. Let's say the U.S. won 2 games, but Germany also won 2 games. Now, if we were to be they play about 3 games. They play each other once. So if let's say U.S. beats one team, they have a 5 goal difference, right? And Germany has 3 goal difference. So however much goals they've beaten their opponents by is how FIFA determines the rankings of the group. So if 2 teams end up having the same amount of points, then that's when they go to, okay, U.S. won by a combined 5 goals, and Germany won by a combined 3, for example. And that's how they would determine it. So that's the group stage. The next stage will be the round of 32. So this is what the tournament happens, where it's single elimination. So if you lose, you lose. If you win, you move on. So since we last talked, it's been a week. So we're talking about some of the scores going on. You have France versus Senegal. France won 3-1 in their game on Tuesday, June 16th. Norway defeated Iraq 4-1, and Argentina defeated Algeria 3-0. Speaking of Argentina, Messi had a hat trick If you don't know what a hat trick is, it's where you score 3 goals. Messi scored all 3 for Argentina, which is crazy to think about because Argentina won the last World Cup. They have a chance to win this year's World Cup. Not going to lie, they have a chance. So for Wednesday, you had June 17th, you had Austria beat Jordan 3-1. Portugal and Congo tied 1-1. Here's why that's so important, right? Congo is a team that's not really known to be good. Portugal should have blown that team out of the water, right? And Ronaldo is on Portugal. And Ronaldo didn't even get a point during that game. And Portugal tied. Now, here's why that's so important. You need to win as many games as you can. Because it's going to come down to, in order for you to get into the tournament, it's going to be by goal difference. How many goals did you beat your opponents by? And Portugal right now has 0. They have 1 point. So they got to win the next 2 games or else they're not in the tournament, or they have a very low chance of being in the tournament. England beat Croata 4-2. Ghana beat Panama 1-0. And Colombia beat Uzbekistan 3-1. On Thursday, June 18th, you had Czechia and South Africa tied 1-1. Switzerland beat Bosnia 4-1. Canada beat Qatar 6-0. Rest in peace, Qatar. And Mexico defeated South Korea 1-0. Now, speaking of Mexico, since they've won 2 games in their group, they are the first team to qualify for the round of 32 tournament, which is pretty crazy because Mexico is the first team. They are one of the host countries, and they qualified for the round of 32. So that just tells you how important soccer is for Mexico fans and how important it is to win the World Cup. For Friday, June 19th, the United States beat Australia 2-0. Now here's where the other bit of good news comes in. Your second team to qualify for the round of 32 is none other than the United States. We have 2 wins. That means we have 6 points. And the next closest to us is Australia. So we are officially qualified for the round of 32 tournament. Morocco defeated Scotland 1-0. Brazil defeated Haiti 3-0. And Paraguay defeated Turkey 1-0. On Saturday, June 20th, Netherlands defeated Sweden 5-1. Germany defeated Ivory Coast 2-1. And your third team to qualify for the round of 32 is none other than Germany. So you got Mexico, USA, and Germany have all qualified for the round of 32. This is the only 3 teams at this time to have qualified. Now, when we talk about it next week, there'll be more teams that get qualified, and we may even see the full tournament by next week. And then Ecuador and Curacao tied 0-0. Yesterday, Sunday, June 21st, Japan beat Tunisia 4-0. Spain defeated Saudi Arabia 4-0. Belgium and Iran tied 0-0. Uruguay and Cape Verde tied 2-2. And Egypt defeated New Zealand 3-1. And for today, we have some pretty good games going on today. You got Argentina versus Austria. Both teams have 1 win so far. You got to think, if Argentina wins, right, they are most likely guaranteed for the round of 32 as well. We also got France versus Iraq, Norway versus Senegal, and Jordan versus Algeria. And all of these games are on Fox. And for tomorrow, got some good games. Portugal is facing Uzbekistan. Now, Portugal should win that game. If Portugal does not win, they have like a 80% chance of not making the round of 32. So they need to win tomorrow in order to be into the World Cup. England faces Ghana, Panama faces Croatia, and Colombia faces Congo. And then for Wednesday, you got Bosnia versus Qatar, Switzerland versus Canada, Morocco versus Haiti, Scotland versus Brazil, Mexico versus Czechia, and South Korea versus South Africa. Now, one of the first teams to fully be eliminated from the World Cup is Haiti. They've lost 2 games. They got 1 game left, and they are not completely out of the water. There's like a small percentage that they do make it. But as I'm seeing, I've seen that they have been eliminated. And then for Thursday, you got Morocco versus Ivory Coast, Ecuador versus Germany, Japan versus Sweden, Tanzania versus the Netherlands, Paraguay versus Australia, and the United States versus Turkey. And those are, and Friday, you got Norway versus France, Senegal versus Iraq, Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia, Uruguay versus Spain, Egypt versus Iran, and New Zealand versus Belgium. Now, that is all the games for this week. Actually, let's talk about this weekend. This weekend, you got Croatia versus Ghana, Panama versus England, Colombia versus Portugal, Congo versus Uzbekistan, Algeria versus Austria, Jordan versus Argentina for Saturday, and then for Sunday is when it starts the round of 32. So by the time we talk about the World Cup next week, we will know the round of 32 tournament schedule, who's facing who. And the tournament actually starts on Sunday, June 28th. So when we come back next week, we'll be talking about a little bit about how the rest of the group stage goes, who qualifies, who doesn't, my picks on who I think is going to win. I'm rooting for the USA, so I want the USA to win the World Cup. So that is all for the World Cup, for the FIFA World Cup for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to be going into a music break. We're going to be listening to One Direction. And when we come back, we're going to be doing a little bit of a recap, talking about what we're talking about next week, and doing a little bit of a fun fact of the day for you guys. So we'll be back right after this. And welcome back, everybody. This is the end of Wyatt's Hour for today. So today we talked about all the way from golf to Toy Story 5 to the NBA draft to the NHL draft, to the NHL trade rumors and the draft. And we talked about the FIFA World Cup. Now, for next week, we're going to be talking about, like I said, the FIFA World Cup. We will go over the NBA draft results and talking about if the Giannis trade went through. We're going to be talking about the NHL draft and then 2 other mystery news that we'll be talking about next week. I'll wait to reveal them next week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, whether you're on Live 365 or you're on YouTube. Before I go, I wanted to give you a fun fact of the day. And going forward, towards the end of every show, I'll be giving you a fun fact of the day. Sharks are older than trees, having existed on Earth for over 400 million years. In contrast, the earliest tree ancestors did not evolve until around 350 million years ago. So that's your fun fact. Sharks are older than trees, which is something that I never thought would be a thing. I thought trees have been around for a long time. I didn't know that sharks were older than trees. It's actually pretty insane. So thank you guys so much again for listening, for tuning in. It's been a great couple of episodes so far, and I look forward to many more episodes with you guys. Stay cool today outside. It's going to be pretty hot outside with the heat index to be pretty hot. So make sure you got sunscreen. Make sure you cool off. Make sure you jump into the pool. You relax. It's the summer. And just enjoy the summer. That's all I got to say. So thank you guys so much. And we'll see you guys back here next week on HC Hawk Radio here at the Ybor City campus. This has been Wyatt's Hour. This has been your boy Wyatt. And I'll see you guys next week. See ya.